And there is a difference between theory and practice. Like, so that taking risks sometimes, of course, let's say rational risks or thought risks, can really help. And this experience helped me to replicate it many times. Whenever I see that I am overwhelmed, I need time, space to think, I take a step back. Entrepreneurship is everything but fancy.
I love vulnerability. I feel like initially it's hard, but it's liberating.
If you, when you wake up in the morning, you just want to throw up because you think that you're going to your job, and then if you can quit, quit. But if you
want to grow your business on one hand, and then you are also asking people not to overconsume, and then there are other things that come with sustainability. So how is it how are you trying to navigate this landscape of sustainable fashion? Asma, once again with Impact Upstart, thank you very much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure knowing you and learning from you. So much inspiration, both professionally and personally. When did you start, and how? Like, you were doing architecture, you went into fashion, but
I had to start my business, and usually when you kick off a business, it takes a lot of time and energy.
Oh yeah.
So I resigned. It was hard.
Yeah.
I cried.
Okay.
And then and then I started like really thinking of how I can start a business. And there is a difference between theory and practice. Like, in theory, you can just like do a business model, fill all the cases, and everything may seem perfect and functioning. But once you start, you start like seeing the problems, and like your assumptions do not connect to the reality. So and then I started just like trying as a child, really, as someone who is learning to walk, designing some stuff, putting them on social media, trying to sell to my network, the people who knew me as someone who is passionate. So I needed to like expose myself as a fashion designer and try to test. It was a period of high vulnerability because you expose yourself to critics, you expose yourself to failure. But I think it was rewarding because after trying many times, you come up with something that works. And this is how I launched Asma by AM, which is a brand for children's wear that focus on creating clothes that are made of high quality fabrics and who can adapt to different sizes. So in this way, we try to like give to our customers something that is pleasant, beautiful, that is functional for the children, and it can adapt to different sizes, so it can grow a little bit more with the child and can be used 3 times more than a regular garment.
Just on the way, there was a question in the LinkedIn articles, like the collaborative articles, and the question said, if you are a mid-career professional and you are afraid to fail, but you want to do your own business, so what do? And I felt like when you were sharing your journey of working in social entrepreneurship and then thinking about quitting and starting your own business, I know it's not easy, right? Sometimes you are just on the ladder and you want to keep growing, you are stuck with the monthly salary, and there are a lot of fears that come with it. As you said, you cried, so it's nerve-wracking. Could you reflect a little bit on that, like if people wanted to ask this question?
Well, that's an interesting question, because we have this tendency to think that when you're starting your career, it's easy to take risks, and once you start your path and you're like developing things, things get harder to change or to make a shift. But I think think first of all you need to ask yourself why you want to make this shift. What is pushing you to do this? And usually, like, if the reason is valid enough for you, not necessarily for others, because people have different perspectives and different objectives and different values. So, but if it's important for you, like for me, education was important. Learning more was important. Taking a step back from my business also was important, because working maybe, 12 hours, sometimes 14 hours a day on your business, you don't have the luxury to take a step back. So this was my first, let's say, my why. Learning, growing, taking a step back, observing. Second thing, I think it's important to be patient with the process. It took me around 3 years before doing this shift. I started looking for opportunities, applying for scholarships, really trying to find the things that are aligned with what I want and with what I want to become. And I think this is maybe a plus that when you're a mid-career person, it's a plus or an advantage that you have comparing to maybe someone who isn't very new in the market. You know exactly what you want to learn. You know your needs better. So it took me around 3 years to find something that is aligned with what I want. And so it took me also a lot of patience.
Sometimes we think like maybe taking a break, maybe putting something on standby, or just pausing and taking a step back. We feel we are so afraid of failure, we are so afraid of trying and testing, and also even sometimes just taking a step back to us feels like failure, right? And how do you you did take a step back? What were the reasons to take the step back, and how do you see you proudly say that I took a step back and I'm gonna do it even better when I go forward. It's like the catapult, right? So how do you see the decision? How did you come up with that decision? Like after 3 years of investing in a business, working on it with your team, with your co-founders, and then you said, nope, I'm catapulting.
Let me share with you a personal story.
Okay, I'm ready.
When I was in college, in university we had what we call preparatory years.
Okay.
It's basically 2 years of intense work, many modules, stressful process, and then you have a competition to access to the second let's say level, and let's say after these 2 years you become officially an architecture student.
Okay.
So during these 2 years I didn't have time to do anything but studying. I was really like studying, working hard. The competition was really intense, and I needed to secure that. My objective was to secure a seat in the second level.
Yep.
But after studying 2 years, I was not sure if I wanted to continue or not. I felt like I put so much energy, and I was not it's like a horse who has I don't know how do we call them in English. It's called, in French it's called les œillères. So basically it helps the horse to focus and not look right and left. I felt like I was this way. I was so focused. I reached the point that I wanted to reach, but I was not seeing the world around me, and it was extremely annoying for me, and extremely stressful, because I felt like I was just like an animal who wanted to reach a point, and that's it. Nothing happens around. And to make a decision, because it was either continuing my studies or just quit and doing something else. But to make this kind of decision, I needed time. I was thinking, okay, summer vacation can help me, but it didn't. So after like the summer vacation and we needed to start the new year, I decided to take a sabbatical year. And at that moment, yeah, it felt like a failure because everyone was saying, "Oh, you're gonna lose a year, and your like classmate will graduate before you, blah 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 blah."
Yeah.
And of course, people had their point of view, and but I really needed to take a step back, not studying for a year, reflecting on who I am, what I want to do, in order to continue because I needed energy, but I couldn't continue. Like I needed to take a step back, catapult myself to continue till the 5th year.
Yeah.
So it was a very, very hard decision, but I can tell you it's maybe one of the most impactful decisions I made in my entire life. So during that year, I did something like very nerdy. I used to go every day to the library to my university because I didn't have time to go to the library when I was studying. We were so focused on our projects and modules and everything, deliverables. I didn't have time to explore like learning from the library. And we had a very nice library with a lot of books about art, architecture, history of architecture. I was like enjoying. I was waking up at like 5:30, taking the bus. I was living in another city.
Yeah.
So taking the bus, and I was the happiest. I also adjusted my sleeping routine, my food, and everything. And then after a year, and also people were telling me, "Oh, probably you will be too lazy to come back to studying, and you will get used to, relaxing and everything." But it wasn't. It didn't make sense. And sometimes people give you advice just to protect you from something that they are afraid of, and you are afraid also.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you need to experience, like, to go through the experience.
Yeah,
of course, it wasn't like, it was a rational decision for me. I needed this time, and I needed to give myself this time. And after coming back, I was so happy. I put my objectives. I knew my boundaries.
Yeah.
Like, for example, when I'm too tired, I should probably take a break. I don't know, sleep a little bit. Also, I learned that year that I'm a morning person. So I used to, for example, when I have an assignment or something, I used to sleep around 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Wake up at 4, do my workout, and then start like studying. And it was more. This routine was more aligned with who I was, and I was like more productive, happier. Of course, like that bad days happen, but I was like it created a shift in my way of doing things. And I started questioning myself, what I love, what are my passions, where I can, what I want to learn. So every time we start a module, like I really take time to learn. Of course, I needed to care a bit about grades, but I wanted to really enjoy the process of learning, and it worked. And I can tell you that till now, I still have this way of thinking or way of seeing things. I became more curious. I know, I mean, of course, some like we are not sure 100% of the result, but using this technique can help go beyond what we think we can do, what we can create, and can be life-changing in a very positive way.
Amazing how you were actually able to, take a step back and really learn to enjoy, right? Sometimes, like, even the things when you feel like you have to do them, you kind of start despising them, right? And then all of a sudden you take a break and you are going to university every day, right? You are still waking up early, you are still going to the library, but most of all, you are enjoying it. And something that I have also realized with this recent break in my life, I think after being on the run forever, is really finding things that you enjoy to do. And then you just find the time for them, you find the energy for them, you find ways, to do them, like we are doing right now. So, yeah, I mean, how do you, entrepreneurship, again, there is fun. There is obviously fun, but there are so many struggles that come with it. For example, we don't have the podcast guy today, right? So we are literally, walking back and forth to really pull this together, because you don't have a choice. You know, you have to get things done, and not just this. There are bigger challenges. How do you keep a balance with having fun, you know, also staying true to yourself, and you know, competing in the market and running a business?
So, well, first of all, maybe the whole image is balanced. As you mentioned, having fun, being an entrepreneur, dealing with, let's say, daily struggles and everything. The whole picture can be balanced somehow. But if you take like sequences, it's not always balanced. So sometimes you need to work more, and you have like less fun. And then sometimes you have more fun, less work. You need to compromise. So I think it's important to, I come across something very interesting, and this is why I'm telling you this. Someone, I don't remember, I think it was on Instagram or something, and someone was saying that if we evaluate balance in 1 month, we can be very disappointed about our behavior, or in 1 day, let's say. But if you see it in like 5 years, you can see, oh, I have progressed. I have like done X, Y, and Z, and my life is quite balanced. So seeing the bigger picture, I think it's sometimes very important, because balance, progress can take more time than what we think, and we are now used to like fast pace. So I think it's important to recalibrate our pace to the human pace and see like, okay, it takes time. So basically, like it can be balanced when you see that, like the whole picture. And also I think what is important when you're running a business, or like you're starting a business, passion is very important, but it's not the only ingredient. Passion can help you start and like push you out of your bed, but it takes discipline and consistency. And I think these skills can be learned in different ways. It can be learned by, I don't know, doing a workout, going to the gym, and you know that by being consistent, even though sometimes you don't like it, you know that you need to do it. You know the purpose, you know your why, and then even if you're tired, you will do it. Probably not as well as when you have energy and you're like inspired, but you know that you need to do it. Same, like you can learn it from, I don't know, if I can share this, from praying. You know that you need to pray and meditate, for example, on a daily basis. And sometimes you don't want to, but you know that it's good for you, so you do it. And this is how I think that discipline is a muscle that you train, and the more you train yourself to do things, even though that you don't want, but you know that it's good for you, you will learn to, you know, for example, we don't have Alex here, but since the podcast is very important for you, it's okay for you like to move every now and then and press on the green button and do it, because it's important for you. Otherwise, if you were not interested by this, or if it didn't make sense for you, you would like, oh, Alex is not here, let's cancel it, let's postpone it, or something like that. So I think, passion is important, knowing your skills is important, and being able to develop them, consistency, discipline, and also patience.
That's a big list. Well, I mean...
And vulnerability added.
Ooh.
Expose yourself to...
Even more.
Yeah.
I think I love vulnerability. I feel like initially it's hard, but it's liberating. It's like, it's nerve-wracking initially, but it's liberating. That kind of reminds me of your talk on, you know, just knowing yourself. And you said a while ago that if you know yourself, if you are aligned, you don't need so much energy and effort to be. It's like things are easy. What do you have to say about that?
I was reflecting on that maybe yesterday and today, and
I loved it, what you said. I was like, boom.
So you know when you know the principle of resonance. When two waves become, let's say, or two objects release waves that have the same, I think, the same like frequency, same length, they resonate.
Yeah.
And resonance is like it's a push.
Yeah.
That is like really. For example, I will give you an example to just visualize what I'm talking about. When, for example, let's say you're in a swing, you're doing, and someone push you at the right moment.
Yeah.
So with the same, let's say, intensity, they push you at the right moment, and then you're like, you start swinging very fast.
Yeah.
So this is basically the principle of resonance. So if you know yourself, and I believe that, let's say we have a certain wave. This is our natural wave that is aligned with our, let's say, principles, values, skills, ability, I don't know, anything. Let's say this is how our, let's say, initial or normal or inner self, okay?
Right.
And then you, like, usually when you're doing something that is not really you, it has a different wave. So it's not like you're having two waves and a lot of energy going right and left, but once, imagine that you get closer to this, you will resonate. So you do things that you know yourself, you know your frequency, you know your length of wave, and you start doing things that are really aligned. For example, I don't know, waking up early if you're a morning, like the early bird, or like working late if you're a night owl, doing things that are aligned with your principles, with your skills. So then you get very close to this natural inner wave, and then you start resonate. So you will put less energy, but you will reach a potential that probably no one can do. Like, you reach your ultimate or optimal potential.
Like you mentioned in the first section, like encouraging people not to overconsume. Like, what business does that, right? So, but you as a sustainable business, if that's the core of your business's vision, then of course you are asking businesses not to overconsume. And how do you do that? Like, your business, you want to grow your business on one hand, and then you are also asking people not to overconsume, and then there are other things that come with sustainability. So how is it how are you trying to navigate this landscape of sustainable fashion as an entrepreneur?
I truly believe that a sustainable business can be profitable.
Okay.
I know that we live in an era where we think that we need to constantly grow and constantly increase our sales and constantly increase our profit and blah blah blah, and this without taking care of the resources that are limited. We know that they are limited, but when it comes to business, maybe sometimes we choose money over resources, and we don't really care about people, because people need work, need a job. So sometimes I feel like, in general, like, we can have values, but when it comes to work, when it comes to real life, we try to not really follow them. But I think I really believe that, first, a sustainable business can be profitable, and you just like need to think how. And this is, I think this is the main skill of an entrepreneur. Just thinking, like, we are creative beings. We can find a solution. So, and of course, I'm really not like reinventing the wheel. There are so many businesses that in fashion that are profitable and sustainable. If we take the example of Patagonia, they had this marketing campaign, "Don't buy this jacket."
Yeah.
And in this way, they were highlighting the fact that we should only buy when we need. And as humans, we need clothes. We just don't need to overconsume. For example, I don't know, we're in the same style it was okay, like maybe a few centuries ago, it was really fine. Maybe sometimes a few decades ago, it was fine. Now it became like abnormal that people see you 2 days in a row with the same style. Or like, oh, they saw me with this. I need to have a 365-day closet. And we find a way to say, oh, I don't have what to wear today.
Yeah.
But I think this is something like maybe to come back to your question, the fashion industry faces many challenges. The first one, from let's say from the side of the consumers got used to having clothes that are very cheap, and having this possibility to change maybe sometimes twice a day, having different styles, different trends, following trends. It's not even about style now, like trends. Okay, this trend is this, I don't know, this garment is trendy now, okay, I will wear it. And then maybe 2 weeks later, I don't want to wear it because it's not trendy anymore. So people got used to that, got used to the overconsumption, and we normalized it because of social media, like influencers, and it's fine. And this is not normal. So many businesses, maybe just to be able to live, some of them like choose to follow this trend. There is an opportunity, there is a business, a market gap, and we need like to create something. But I think it's important to really question this, or let's say cope with this challenge and come up with another solution. There are other people. The market is quite like vast and big, especially in certain markets. I operate in the African market, and it's a virgin market. There are so many people, so many customer segments, and you can like start your business with a certain customer segment. For example, making high quality clothes. There are some people who really care now. Caring about the environment became trendy, which is good.
We are good at following trends.
Exactly. So it's like you can follow this trend as a business, and really trying to come up with something that can be resistant, beautiful, functional, and not necessarily trendy. It can be stylish but not trendy. You create your own style, for example, or it takes imagination, it takes creativity, but it's possible again.
What has been your biggest challenge? Like, if you could tell me one, like, biggest challenge so far in 4 years of your business journey?
Getting used to failure and find a way to learn from it.
100%.
And of course, like when we talk about failure, we talk about money. Like you invest money, you invest energy in projects and everything, and like how would you deal with that? This is maybe a big challenge, because we have this tendency to say, oh, it's good to fail, failure is nice, you should do that. Of course you will learn from it, but failure takes time, energy, financial resources to try something and learn from it, let's say. So I think this is something that was challenging for me, accepting failure, getting used to imperfection. I used to be very perfectionist, and it didn't help me a lot. Like, of course, like being dedicated to your job and paying attention to details is crucial, and it's really useful, especially in fashion. I pay attention to details, and I can see the result. But being perfectionist and trying to not let's say you focus too much on the theory and you don't put yourself in the field and try things and fail and get frustrated and blah blah blah. So I think getting used to that and finding a way to come back again very fast was challenging.
You just funnily mentioned if you want to be resilient, do these 5 things. And I agree. It's the only way you can learn to be resilient is by trying and failing. It's not just the external things that people, most of us are afraid of, failing in. It's also a very internal thing, like just that fear and the shame and the social expectations and the pressure that comes with it. It's crazy, but it's a muscle. You can grow anything you want, right? Emotionally, mentally, physically, everything is a muscle, and that muscle can only be grown by practicing and consciously putting yourself out there, trying again and again and again. And same for me. I think it's a work in progress. I'm still trying to, it's okay to fail, right? So try different things, try crazy things, but try to just be okay with failure. I think that's an amazing point and amazing insight into your journey. But about the 5 things, I'm gonna give you a scenario because we talked a lot about, just like quitting your job. In the LinkedIn post, I think it's universe or something. People are asking, and we have all been in that situation where you are at a job, either you are killing it or it just sucks, but you are stuck there. So if you were given a scenario of if you are feeling these 5 things in your job, quit today.
You're asking me
I'm
very
starting
hard
a controversy.
questions, very hard question. Well, first of all, just like a disclaimer, I think. Okay, I'm trying to formulate this
Disclaimer.
complex thought. I think we have this tendency to say, oh, if you don't feel good, if you feel it in your gut that you want to change a job, just do it, resign, be yourself and everything. But there are some people who cannot do it. Probably many people. And I think saying this to everyone can put more pressure on some people who, like, for example, there are some people who have, let's say, some responsibilities and they need money. So imagine this person is not already they don't like their job, and you tell them, oh no, you should quit, you should have this courage and blah blah blah. Okay, yes, of course, probably we need to support this kind of people, but I think we should be, let's say, quite mindful with sharing this kind of thought.
Yeah.
I would definitely encourage anyone who would, for example, if they are in a toxic environment, if they feel that their principles are not valued, their potential is not valued, they don't see any perspective of growth, they are in a situation when they definitely are not themselves. When I say themselves, it means that, for example, someone who is really creative and this person is put in a situation where any suggestion is not welcome, for example. This can really affect the mental health of the person. And yes, if they can quit, then definitely. If they don't feel the space and, let's say, the opportunity to grow, to be themselves and to be less stressed about the job, then yeah, if they can quit, they should quit. If you, when you wake up in the morning, you just want to throw up because you think that you're going to your job, and if you can quit, quit. But if you cannot quit, I think it's important to really do things that can help you be more yourself. I don't know, if you like to work out, just work out. If you want to breathe, just take deep breaths. Add a little
bit of yourself in the day, and it will get you through. Yeah.
Try to make it better as much as possible. Try to have a support system. So I think,
I loved it. The way you put it. Honestly, when we go on social media, everyone is there was this funny reel about diet, So some people were saying, don't eat sugar. Others were saying, don't eat, too much of fruits. The others were saying, don't eat too much of protein. Don't eat too much of carbs. And people were like, what do we eat, right? So it does put people in a position where they are like, what do we do? And also, like, sometimes it's just unfair to push people and then make them feel more miserable about the
Exactly.
situation that they want to quit but they cannot. And there are, I 100% agree that some people are in a situation they just can't quit and leave, for sure. And also when you said about there is so much talk around entrepreneurship, fancy startup bubble and everything, but you burst the bubble, what's there? Like, entrepreneurship is not that fancy either, right? So I mean, it comes with its own challenges. And has there been a situation for you where you saw someone really making it, the fancy, the romantic stuff, and you are like, that's not it?
Entrepreneurship is everything but fancy.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember when I was student at university, I used to attend conferences, and I was seeing like entrepreneurs wearing very cool socks, colorful
Wow.
with patterns,
Uh-huh.
like being stylish, and many of them were talking about entrepreneurship as a, very fancy thing. You get to know people, you become famous.
Yeah.
Your paycheck is just like as high as, I don't know, as a celebrity paycheck. And when I started my journey, especially in fashion,
Yeah.
I experienced like everything but
It
doing
was a
something
different
fancy.
story.
First of all, I like, people don't perceive the work of fashion, for especially in Algeria, as something fancy. It's a job for someone who didn't succeed in studies, and it was their only option
Okay.
to have an income, and so yeah, it wasn't like the perception of people was, especially when they knew that I have studied in university, they were like, what is she doing? She's crazy. Like, is she desperate? Like, she seems very desperate if she's doing this.
Yeah.
So yeah, people's perception, also the job that you are doing sometimes is nothing but fancy. Like, everything's already but fancy. And yeah, like trying things, learning things, starting from scratch, being in contact with people, receiving feedback, receiving, I don't know, complaints from clients. And this is not fancy, but I think we have this tendency to not value serving people. And I think entrepreneurship is about serving people and having the humility to serve people. And it's fine, like, it doesn't need to be fancy, but as long as you're serving people, and of course you need an income, like you make an income from serving people. I think it helps you focus on your objective as an entrepreneur, grow, make people grow with you, help people grow with you, because I mean, it's fast to grow alone, but it's more effective to grow with other people. And yeah, like, really, yeah, see yourself as a servant. See yourself as a servant, and be okay with that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, if you have a good paycheck, you can, I don't know, allow
Can have
yourself
fun.
to have a fancy car or fancy clothes. It's fine. I don't disagree with that, as long as you want it, as long as it's sustainable, of course. It's very important. But I think, given this fake image of being an entrepreneur as let's say, important figure or an important character in the story is completely illusional. You're the servant in the story.
Yeah.
You're the servant in the story, and it's fine. It's really fine.
I 100% agree. It's not as it seems on on the social media, especially on social media, because it's very different. And humility is even more important because it's a learning process. It's a for new founders, especially, like from my experience, I am learning every step of the way. Every time I'm like, I don't know how to do this, right? How do I do this? And every step of the way, you are learning to do something new. And every step of the way, you don't know what to do. You don't know how to do it. You don't know how people will respond to it. And sometimes you don't even know where to start and how to learn. It's so much. So if at that point you are someone who feels like I know it all, and you have a sense of an inflated ego, it can be very hard. And then imagine like having those tiny failures on the way, which are very crucial, because if you can design a prototype, and we have been through that. People are like, your problem is too broad, you don't even know your audience, have you tested it, do you have something to show? Not yet. So what are you doing? What is your market research? And then you talk to people, they are like, no, those were not the right questions, you should have asked this. So it's like constant judgment, constant criticism, constant feedback, and that humility will actually help you take the feedback and see what's in it for me, how can I turn this into something positive in my business and my journey. And that's beautiful, that's wonderful. I want to end with something on a high note. Yes, it's hard, but there is a reason people do it, right? It's not for everyone, but the ones who choose to do it. And maybe the fact that they romanticize it so much is because maybe there is something. So you can say, maybe I can ignore the rest. So what has been the most blissful thing about your this journey in entrepreneurship?
Well, I think when you are able to meet the needs of a client and they are satisfied and they recommend you, this is the best reward.
Yeah.
And this is something that I love about entrepreneurship. There are so many reasons why I chose entrepreneurship, and I'm really happy with that, and I'm satisfied, and I have this ability to overcome all the challenges. The first thing is that you are able to choose your, let's say, workload and choose your team, make decisions with people, empower people, use your skills, passion to create something.
Yep.
And especially in the field of design, fashion design, like being able to turn something intangible into something tangible and make income out of it is really nice. It's something that make me like wake up every day. And I really love that. Yeah. So yeah, like being able to solve problems, to listen to people, to grow with your customers, to grow your business, and it's something that you can experience. Of course, you can sometimes experience it in some jobs, but creating your own thing with people, empowering people, growing with people, it's a priceless reward, and it's